Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Joe here from Spain Speaks with an update video, bit of a feedback video from some of the comments on videos over the last few days. Lots of talk about the former king and the way he has left the country, gone to reside somewhere else where it's a little bit safer at the moment than Spain for him, because he is involved in a financial scandal at the moment. And of course the heat is coming down on the royal family, and they have decided that probably it's better for him to leave the country, get out of the way, and let the situation cool down a bit, because it is delicate times for the Spanish royal family. And of course, as we know, Spain in the middle of the pandemic and the financial crisis, and the royal family has to be careful at the moment. As I have mentioned in other videos, the royal family in Spain has been involved in a lot of difficult situations over the last few years, going back, well, at least 10 years, when the problems with the former king's son-in-law, Iñaki, can't really remember his last name, but he was involved in a corruption scandal, and there has been various scandals for the Spanish royal family over the years. And of course, that person that I previously mentioned is still in jail. He was involved in a scandal called the Caso Nos, and basically he was getting money from different councils, different governments around Spain, some type of event organization, and of course a lot of dodgy business activity going on inside that organization. He and his partner were convicted, and they both ended up in jail. It was a very, very long trial, but it was a difficult time for the royal family in Spain. And of course, that's when the king abdicated and handed over power to his son Felipe, as a result basically of that case. Plus he was getting a bit on, and they decided that it was time for a change, not like in the UK, where the Queen seems to hold on forever. I think she's 95 this year, and of course hasn't given Charlie a look in yet, and don't even know if he will get a look at the crown sometime in the near future. And of course Juan Carlos's problems go back to these financial scandals, these kickbacks allegedly that he received from various places around the world. The Saudi Arabian government, I think, for some type of contract there to build a high-speed train rail between the capital city in Saudi Arabia and Mecca. I think there was a huge kickback involved there, or at least that is what they are alleging. And of course it seems to be scandal after scandal after scandal. And one of his very close friends has spilled the beans, as I mentioned yesterday. She's come out, given a lot of interviews. There was a conversation between her and a dodgy police officer that was recorded, and a lot of information came out about how the former king loved cash, used to allegedly have a huge cash supply at his royal palace in Madrid, and she said that he was apparently obsessed with money. And it is one of the characteristics of the Spanish royal family that they have to live on a state budget. They don't have the resources that the Queen of England has and some of the other royal families around Europe, let alone those royal families in the Middle East. And of course that's one of the problems. If you move in those circles, I imagine, and you don't have the cash, it can be a bit of a problem. Not sure exactly what the budget is for the royal family in Spain, but I imagine that they can live quite comfortably on the money that they are provided for by the taxpayer. And some people asking the question, of course, could Spain become a republic? Well, it had a crack at it back in the earlier part of the 20th century. Didn't go down too well, led to a civil war, and of course a dictatorship which went on for many, many years. And of course that was one of the problems. And Juan Carlos was reinstated by Franco back in the 1970s to become that head of state. That was the model that they chose rather than a republic. I'm in a republic at the moment. Portugal is a republic. It seems to work quite well without a monarchy. But Spain, I don't know. Now, we've been talking in recent times about those fines in Galicia if you don't register there with the health department. If you go to Galicia, apparently you have to register with them in order for them to know where you are in Galicia on holidays, and huge fines apparently if you don't comply. Andalusia has also decided to bring in fines for people that are not complying to the rules at the moment down there. The fines range from 100 to 600,000 euros. That's right, 600,000 euros maximum. Of course, as I have said in previous videos, very few people would get a fine like that. That's obviously a maximum amount, an unrealistic amount, but it is one of the possible fines that you can get. More likely the fines will be around 100, 200, 300 euros, maybe 1,000 euros for people breaking the rules. Of course, people that are not wearing masks, people that are not complying to the new rules that are in place in Spain at the moment, and in particular Andalusia. And of course, I imagine that that is one of the main reasons for people getting fines down there at the moment. A lot of people anti-masks, as we know. Big movement in England. I was listening yesterday to an interview with somebody in England who was referring to masks as a muzzle, saying that you lose freedoms. I don't really agree with that, but a lot of people seem to have that opinion. I think everybody knows my opinion about wearing a mask. If it's going to help get rid of this health situation, put one on, but a lot of people becoming very vocal about it, and it is a very hot topic politically at the moment. And of course, some of the other rules and regulations that we need to comply to, for example, social gatherings, respecting social distance, not having outrageous parties, street drinking, all of those things. And I imagine that if you are a repeat offender, that's when the fines start to add up, and that's when the quantity starts to increase. So people in Andalusia, keep an eye on that situation. And I saw one comment from somebody asking me to do videos in Spanish. I don't do videos in Spanish. It's not because I don't speak the language, but I set this channel up as an English-speaking channel in order to talk to people from the English-speaking world that are interested in coming and living in Spain or wanting to know a little bit more about Spain. And that's basically what I'm doing, is I'm offering my experiences of living in the country for over 20 years. There are some other people around the place that speak English but put videos out in Spanish. I know there's a couple of American ladies that do it. Can't exactly remember what their channel names are, but if you want to see them speak Spanish and put videos out in Spanish, you can check those channels out. I'll see if I can remember what their names are and put them in the link below, but at the moment I can't. And of course, English is the language that I feel most comfortable using, and that's the language that I'm going to keep these videos in. But I am planning on putting out some Spanish language videos to help people living in Spain improve their language skills, so stay tuned for that. And lots of feedback the other day about Gibraltar, lots of negative feedback, a lot of criticism coming my way. People telling me that I have no idea what I'm talking about. People telling me that I'm out of my depth. And that's one of the questions that I need to address. What exactly is somebody's depth on a topic? What makes you know something more than me? What makes one person know more than another person? That's the question that I would like to know. How can anybody be out of depth when they're talking about something general like Gibraltar? Just my opinion, I put it forward and I welcome the debate. But that's where we're at. Lots of people very sensitive about that topic. Don't know why. It is what it is. A lot of people saying that Spain also has territories in the north of Africa. That is true, they do. But I personally can't understand what the role of Gibraltar is in the year 2020. This is the channel on which I welcome debate. People are allowed to express their opinions, have their point of view, as long as it doesn't get too toxic. But of course, you have to be careful about some topics apparently, and obviously Gibraltar is one of those sensitive topics for a lot of people. I don't understand why, but it must be. And finally, just a quick chat about what's going on in Melbourne at the moment. Not really sure on the situation there. They seem to be in a stage 4 lockdown. A lot of people wondering what the heck is happening in Melbourne. Obviously, the virus situation is not under control, and the Premier there, Mr. Andrews, has decided to go back to that more strict lockdown, considering that the first one didn't seem to work. And unfortunately, I think this is going to be a characteristic in other places as well. Come the autumn, come the winter time, when we go into that flu season, when we go into that more delicate time of the year, when the temperatures start to drop and people start to get other ailments, other illnesses, and of course we confuse this current situation with other more traditional illnesses. I can see that in Melbourne they're going through exactly the same thing that we went through here in Spain in March, April and May. Severe lockdown, supermarket shelves are being emptied, people are going to butcher shops and buying huge amounts of food, thinking that food is going to run out. It's not going to happen. People just have to relax. That would be my advice for people in Melbourne at the moment. Don't panic buy. There's going to be enough of everything. But as we saw earlier in the year with panic buying on things like toilet paper, the situation can get out of control very quickly. So for people in Melbourne, just relax, get through the 6-week lockdown, make sure that the health situation gets under control, and you'll start to get some of those freedoms back like we have in Spain at the moment. And of course, Portugal, where I am, also at the moment as well, quite relaxed compared to what it was a few months ago. So listen to what people are saying, don't go rogue, and it will come to an end sooner rather than later. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.